We entered, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit a milestone. We are now in the B's. B2ST, I don't know, that's some kind of pop group. Bam Margera, Jackass. Look at the eyes. Oh, he's just on drugs. Like, yeah, but more than that, like he's showing homage to the beast. Ay, ay, ay. Look, they'll say that this is hate speech at some point. This is hate speech. How dare you correctly identify that the Baphomet, who we conveniently like to say is not Satan, for the purposes of calling this hate speech, equating that with Satan. I will have you know that Baphomet is a friendly man, as was Crowley. Crowley was, you could have him babysit sometimes. He was a guy's guy. You would just like to go have a beer and coffee and just talk philosophy, and you guys would be good old chumps. You and Crowley. You and Baphomet. He's so misunderstood. Even though you correctly, he's got like a penis and breast. And that's why you see, what we see happening today with this whole, come on, our grandparents, my grandma she literally would have thought I'm on drugs if I would have said this was the future. Back in like the early 80s. No, Adam, what are you? That can't happen. You would have thought. Now, no. Canada has literal legislation that, like, if you don't accept the gender, if your child identifies as another gender and you don't accept that, they can be taken away from you. Coming to a country near you. Barbara Palvin. I feel bad for her. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. She's a fashion model, but man, I have found a lot of her over time. She must be seriously abused. Barbra Streisand. Oh, not Barbara too. Adam, please. Please leave me someone. Leave me some hero. Stop following these people. Follow Jesus Christ. Turn away from the world and you're going to be all right. You don't do that. You keep. I get these comments all the time. Why did you include Elvis? Why did you include Bob Dylan? I had that guy. Let me confirm for you why I included Bob Dylan. Just so you guys know. For the commenter who may be watching this at some point. And again, I'm not... Guys, I get frustrated is what it is. Because, there's always some celebrity where you're like, you were so unfair with them. Really. Here's Bob Dylan's official logo. This is his official logo. There is an Eye of Horus in Bob Dylan's logo here. Okay? Let's see what else Bob is up to. Bob just has a little eye trouble. Bob also seems to like Harpocrates. And Bob has a little eye trouble again. And he also... Give me a moment.
That's when I went to the crossroads and made it a big deal. Like... Yeah. One night. And then went back to Minneapolis and I was like, hey, where's this guy been? He went to the crossroads.
So, that's why I include Bob Dylan. That's unfair. It's just based on some images where, go talk to someone else with that. As a matter of fact, they said I should do a video just on Bob Dylan, I probably will in the future. I'm just going to start, like, any one of these. You can just, it's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Just put your finger on one of them and then research. And you'll find it all. it's even The Simpsons, brother. Oh, Bass Nectar. Again, we're in the B's. We're not going to Z, just so you know. I'll have to tap out way before them. But Dixie Chicks, she got a tattoo of him. She also helped get the West Memphis 3 with Johnny and Winona and Henry Rollins. All of those poor boys that just read funny books by Crowley and had some toddlers end up ritually murdered. You know, Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, just so happens to do a movie like making it appear like that Damien is innocent. Got the same kind of witchcraft sigil tattoo on his arm that Damien has. Peter Jackson? Oh no, Adam. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you thought there were exceptions. I know. You're still coming out of the sleep. I get it. You thought that there were, like, surely it's not all of them. Oh, it's all of them? Holy shit, John Todd was real. They did whack him. Bass Nectar again. Seriously, man. People are just checked out. They're just checked out. They're just like, oh, you're such a good musician. Like me, born again Christian, I'd be like rebuking it in the name of Jesus Christ from halfway across the mall. Everybody else is like, oh, his energy. Oh my goodness, his energy was just so raw and so sexual. Such a good musician. Here you go. Remember Ashton? Gee, I wonder if they're Masons or not. Paul McCartney, again, Pockets of the Future. Go over to his channel. Look up his latest video about Paul McCartney. There's a lot of complimentary channels that'll help you fill in the dots. Throwing up in his latest video, Paul McCartney, all the Illuminati symbolism. It's like you have to. Like, it comes with the territory. It's part of the deal. You must. So, you remember what we showed you before with Ashton Kutcher. There you go. Masonic hand poses. Wake up, folks. Beatrice Martin. Don't know who that is. Becca Tobin. Some of you may know. There you go. You got Best of All Worlds there again. You got the monarch programming symbolism, and you got the one eye. And they're all, I'm not trying to cause anybody, please, just don't look. Avert your eyes if you, I'm sorry, I was going to go like this. But notice, it's all like selling you as well. These celebrities, if they're not selling you violence or blasphemy, like Tyler, the Creator, they're selling you lust, sex. That's how Christians know where it comes from. They should, anyway. A Christian who sees somebody up on a dance floor who's dressed provocatively and dancing around leaving really nothing to the imagination should know full well, no matter whether that entertainer tells them that they're Christian or otherwise, that they're not Christian. Because the Bible says we'll know them by their fruits. We don't judge on appearance, but when the Bible says that you don't cause a man to lust or a woman to lust, and you are walking around causing people to lust, like, well, we know your fruit. Belinda Peregrine, I don't know who that is. She looks like Taylor Swift a little bit. Bella Hadid, boy, she does it a lot. Poor girl. Bella Hadid again. I say poor girl. I mean, that's my best theory anyway, guys. Like, is that this is like all the roads seem to go to like this creepy Luciferian like splitting of personalities when people are young and programming them. But again, it doesn't account for all of them. Satan, like some of these are just like avowed Satanists that are in Hollywood as well that didn't go through the MK Ultra highway, fast lane. They just are down for the cause because they're down for the cause. Bella Thorne. What is this, guys? At a certain point, are you going to say, like, why is it on all my... Go to any clearance rack at Kohl's, in the men's section. This is what all... Okay, are we back? Looks like we're back now with the sound. But, hang on, I am going to disable it for a second again, but it's back. Alright, let's continue. Bella Thorne, Vow of Silence, Wonderland Magazine. Wonderland Avenue. Laurel Canyon. Alice in Wonderland. MK Ultra Air Force Base. Jared Leto hangs out with Terry Richardson all the time. Throws up all the symbols. Jared Leto, raised in an Air Force family. Buys MK Ultra Air Force Base. Nah, that's a strange ride we just took. Ben Drew, ID Magazine, once again. Ben Schnetzer, I don't know who this is. Ben Stiller and Madonna. A couple of Kabbalists, I'm sure. Oh, hi, Ben. Oh, golly shucks, not you as well. I can't watch any Hollywood movies anymore. It completely ruined my ability to enjoy, to just kick back like I used to. You remember when I was a teenager with Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video, and I'd go and I'd get the latest video to come home with. I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore. They do it. They all do them. Oh, Derek Zoolander. So funny. Benedict Cumberbatch. Benicio del Toro. Go watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas again. Gives Johnny Depp's character, who's playing Hunter S. Thompson, the adrenochrome. Says he's playing the part of Hunter S. Thompson's lawyer in that. Says, oh yeah, I got it from a Satanism freak. And Johnny Depp's character is like, you can only get this from a living human person. Cadaver. And then, all these years later, Paul Bonacci, Franklin cover-up, John DeCamp's book. Talks about how he had to be in a snuff film where some kid was shot in the head, and halfway there they picked up some guy named Hunter Thompson in Las Vegas. And Rusty Nelson, also part of that Franklin cover-up. Documentary and Whistle Blew at other points. Says that Hunter Thompson tried to hire him to do a snuff film for $100,000. And Hunter Thompson's own assistant, who used to come to his Owl Ranch, said that he would try to pressure her into watching snuff films and called her a coward for not doing so. Benicio del Toro's, again, I found that to be an interesting, it's not a skull. Knowing what I know about these people, though, like anytime I see the things they like to adorn their bodies with, costume-wise, it's an interesting ring. It's always macabre. Have you noticed that? Everything's so dark. This is some YouTube channel guy who got like millions of followers. How do you make it on YouTube? Well, there you go. Beppe Grillo. I don't know who this is. Beth Ditto. Just go. They got the anchor. Beth Ditto again. I had a demon, and I can say it that blatantly. When I went through this thing called gang stalking, I had a guy who was demonized, who was a part of the harassment, say to me, and I don't think I'll ever meet him. In Jesus' name, I say I will never meet him again. But he said, when we next meet, you're going to know a lot more about symbols. And I'll tell you what, I certainly know a lot more about symbols these days. Everybody thinks, Christians, a lot of times they think they see the symbol, oh, it's a Christian symbol, it's all that. It's a Masonic symbol. Dude, it's so, it gets, are you gagging in your mouth yet? At this point, I'm trying to overload you. Betty Davis. Or, I'm sorry, Betty White. Betty Davis. Betty White. Golden Girls. Are you saying, Adam, it couldn't possibly be Brother, when are you going to wake up? That's what I have to say to people. When are you going to wake up? Oh, come on. What do you expect? That's what I ask folks all the time. You apparently, Christians who don't believe that it could be this person or that because they seem so nice and all this, are you reading scripture at all about how the devil is described? Who the heretics and frankly the antichrists who always lambast Paul. I get it in my comments. I see it. Was Paul an antichrist? Get out of here with that. Paul told you how the devil comes. Like an angel. You'll like the devil. The devil's going to be handsome. The devil's going to be pretty. The devil's going to speak nice. You know? All that fangs and pointed tail stuff is a fairy tale. That's a fairy tale. No, you see, for the devil to deceive the world, he's no fool. No fool whatsoever. If you think you're just going to be able to spot him, well, that's the devil. All right. Some just make it terribly obvious. where their allegiance is. But some of these folks, well, it's a who's who of Washington. Really? Truly? My goodness. You know, people that knew me through Buddhism when I was running, they come and if they watch these videos ever, they're going to think I lost my mind. And you know what? I did. I woke up. I snapped out. To the point where I said, I don't care what people, I don't care what people have to say anymore. I don't approve horribly negative comments on the back just because it's my prerogative to. I don't approve them. I don't approve violent comments. I don't approve hateful comments. None of that. Unfair comments. Or just generally negative. You know? Content's already negative enough. Beyonce. Like, are you starting to like feel sorry for these people? I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. It's pathetic. You're not living the life. You know, the life you live. If I had to, I truly believe this. No matter all the temptations that would come with it, I think if I stepped into one of their typical Friday or Saturday nights on the town, then I'd hate it. I'd hate it. Can you think of how, because there's no allegiance among these Satanists. You know, they do it, they network for convenience, but they all hate each other. So you're out in the town, you're like, hey, Jay-Z, hey, Beyonce, and meanwhile, he doesn't give an F about you. And you don't give an F about him. Because you just gotta make that money, man, that money, man. Gotta make that money. There's Sasha. Beyonce's altar. Sometimes a picture does say 1,000 words. You still frame anyone at them and it's going to show you, you know, you're going to look unflattering at times. Yeah, true. Oh, that's a gif where she throws up the devil horns, but the gifs don't work in this preview. Beyonce, devil horns again. Yawn, of course she does. She throws them all the time. There she is again. There you go. Again, selling you sex with the Illuminati symbolism. Again, if you met that girl, and they're like in regular company, like they seem polite, they're educated, you know, and yet, you know, she could be your cousin, right? Come a couple times a year to your house and family get-togethers and just be pleasant as can be. And meanwhile, she's like a multiple. Hey man, you gotta, at a minimum, you gotta give them some credit. Credit's not the right word, but you have to be in awe of how cunning that is. To literally split people's personalities and program them to serve you even against their own interests, even to the point of self-preservation. To create a so-called double agent. But it's gotten so much bigger than that. You know, what started as possibly a tool to spy on communists or to infiltrate certain groups has been utilized by really dark forces. Of course, it was always going to be, because the root of what they were doing, no matter what the excuse, in splitting all these people's personalities, was satanic. You literally have... They'll be judged so harshly. Because in a very real way, you stripped that individual's free will away from them. To some degree. To some degree. Beyonce. Boy, don't they look so happy? She looks so happy. Gosh, I want to be just like Beyonce. No, she looked like she just murdered a goat. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Snitches get stitches. It's beyond that, though. When they see that, and they see it, just like you see it, the ones that are programmed see it all the time. It gives them a different meaning, though. It's a different meaning. For us, it's like, all right, grab the trumpets, right? Sound the alarm. For them, it reinforces their own programming. And for all the people consuming it. You buy the Beyonce album with the cover, where she's doing all this symbolism. It's a reminder to you, shut your mouth. If you don't shut your mouth, we'll kill your dog, like we did when you were little. We'll kill your family. Shut your mouth, don't tell anyone. Oh, have I glimpsed a little too far down the rabbit hole for everyone? I hope not. I know that the stuff that we're talking about here is out there. It's outlandish even. But it is what it is. Justin hanging out with Goofy. Here's a South Korean, I don't know what these bands are. K-pop? I don't know what you would call them. I don't even know what K-pop is, to be honest. I think it's like their pop music, or when I say there, I'm in South Korea. I'm not. Don't get me confused. Big Sean doing a little 666 salute. Big Sean doesn't look too big. Kind of goes back to that Mike Tyson quote, but whatever. Got a little pyramid. See, again, we just check out. We can't even keep up with them all the symbols. Pyramid here. You got a pyramid next to the money sign on his hat. Let's go in on there. You got the Baphomet stars. Pentagrams. I know, I'm just imagining it. Big Sean. Doing a little devil horn action for you. Big Sean again, getting a shout out from his friend Alchemist. What is that ring? I can't make it out. But yeah. No, he's just being artistic again, guys. Yeah, it upsets me when I hear people continue to come on to say none of this is real. As a matter of fact, I think that 90% of the people that take the time to go out of their way to say this is stupid, you belong in a mental institution, all that, they're not actually the real people that kind of walk away and they're like, I don't think so. I actually think they're about a good percentage of those people know full well what it is. Big Sean throwing up the pyramid for you. Throw up your diamond, as Jay-Z would say. Biss, I don't know who the heck that is. Now again, can I say something here? I notice it a lot with the women, especially the younger girls that do the one-eyed symbolism a lot. Not all of them, but a lot of times, especially when it's like the covering of the one eye photos, or sometimes like with the Olsen twins, when they're putting up the little vow of silence over their lips in that Terry Richardson shoot that you guys have seen in my videos 100 times. Does she look dissociated to you here, this girl? She looks dissociated to me. Like she's not there. Checked out. But that's me. You may say that that's extrapolating things which are not there, or speculating too much. But hey, that's what we're here to do, is speculate a little bit. So this video, we started by talking about the channels that might receive the axe. But then it was just sort of like, all right, while I'm still here on YouTube, I need a break from making this next documentary that I'm making about Dave McGowan and his research. I think it's going to be awesome. I think people are going to love it in a disturbing way. But I needed a break from that. I haven't done many videos in a while, and so I thought I'd do this. And frankly, there's a lot to show. This is what I've done with my time. This is what I've devoted my life to. Is to Jesus Christ and exposing this with everything that I got, using any medium, the most effective medium I can use. I could sit on a bullhorn. I could sit and yell about the Illuminati, this and blah, blah, blah. But this is where you hit the masses, right? This is where you get as many as you can get. I just want to wake people up, man. I want to wake more people up to what's all around them. And as I see people I see it in my own family still at times. And they're lovely Christians, but like they'll sit vacantly watching and consuming the interview with David Letterman with Barack Obama last night, or the news, or just movies in general. And it's just, they get it. I've showed them a lot of my videos, and actually many of the things that have happened. My dad came out of the Catholic Church as a result of his own journey, of course, but like a big part of that was my attempted suicide when I went through the gang stalking, and then just this spiritual kind of revolution that occurred in this house as the Holy Spirit just became present, and showed them the truth of a lot of things in our world. But most people don't look at it to this degree, because they don't, at a certain point, they want to go, they have to turn away for their own sanity, for whatever reason. I believe that, because it's so deep, guys. It's so deep, and people come on these comments on these videos and they're like, you went deep, but like the rabbit hole goes deeper. Brother, I know it does. Sister, I know it does. I could never cover it all. Just the layers and layers of deception. So what you do is you just try to chip away where you can. But people pull back. People resist. I think people, a lot of times, they turn away from this stuff because they know it's true. Not because they actually think it's crazy. But because it's just too alarming. It would require a complete paradigm shift, a complete change of worldview. Bill Crosby, Bill Crosby. Or Bill Cosby. Sorry. Don't you remember those days? The Cosby Show. It's family oriented. I always hated the Cosby Show. You know? I really did. Because it was so fake. It captured what the entire 80s television scene was. Everything was fake. All those sitcoms, I hated them. I remember thinking in the 80s television is tacky. Not to toot my own horn on that, but those were my sentiments growing up. There's Bill again. He's just got a little something in his eye. He's not part of the club. He's not part of the network at all. No, sir, don't get it twisted. Bill and Mage of the Church of Satan, Sammy Davis Jr., hanging out together. Official Mage of the Church of Satan. Oh, but Sammy, he was so wholesome too. Yeah, I know. I know. Bill Gates. Microsoft. It's ironic that I'm like using the devil's technology to try to expose him. From Microsoft to Apple. You guys have all seen it. Come on, man. Steve Wozniak. First Apple computer. He says because he likes the numbers. Sold for $666.66. It sure looks like from the decorations he has, he looks like he's at least a 30th degree Mason. Probably a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason. Wozniak. Steve Jobs, I knew him, and I didn't know him, but I certainly knew of him in Buddhism because he was a Zen Buddhist and a student of this guy named, well, he wasn't exactly an official student, but a guy named Corgan. A cult. There you go again. Dude, I'm looking back at like my whole journey through Zen Buddhism and realizing most of the people that I met were actually like occultists and or straight up left-hand path practitioners. It's just the truth. There you go, just a little strategic time magazine. Well, you have to. These kinds of pictures, too, they tell you so much. It's like, my Xbox is the eye that watches you, is the devil. Right? Billy Graham. Billy Graham's in here because I'm gonna include some more on that. Fritz Springmeier, he kind of, and others, but he got me sniffing around about his Masonic connections. That he actually apparently was a 33rd degree Freemason, which would make sense because he was very much into the ecumenical movement, bringing all Christian denominations together. That doesn't work. You got so many different Christian cults out there. You can't all possibly come together and unify. Only the devil would want to do that. Billy Bobby Brown, poor girl. We started seeing her in movies and that Netflix show Stranger Things, which has... Stranger Things constantly alludes to MK Ultra. Constantly. And the occult. Like Winona Ryder, who's the mother. You know, when she starts to communicate with Billy Bobby Brown, take note on how she's doing it. Like the lights, it's like in a Ouija board on her wall that she's communicating with. But not only that, but there's a scene in it where the cop is doing some research, and like if you pay attention to the photo or the image that he's researching on the screen, it's about MK Ultra mind control projects. And it also shows Billy Bobby Brown after she gets kidnapped, like doing all kinds of weird supernatural stuff in like a government testing setting. Right? By the way, the woman who I strongly suspect to have been a cult multiple who I dated loved that show as well when it came out. Would constantly reference it. Billie Eilish. Hey, if you ever doubted that like Monster is like in Hebrew, their logo 666, well here's Billie Eilish. Oh, it's just tongue in cheek. 666 Monster written on her face, and then it says Unleash the Beast. Better recognize the days we're in. And then you look at all this other stuff. Is that Billie Eilish? I guess that is Billie Eilish, but like she's looking like Lil Xan. What is her? Do not be overcome by evil. It says on her hand. Always these numbers. I'm sure that's some kind of 666. 32. I can't keep up with it all, guys. I can't keep up. She's got some kind of weird, like, dude. She's got some kind of weird, like, reptilian necklace hanging out. Like a gray alien. It's like a gray alien. You can't even make this stuff up, man. There she is. She loves you. It's just I love you. With the tongue out. She loves you. It's just that's all it is. I love you. She still loves you. Does that look like somebody who's like telling me they love me? Like, love to the people. Oh, here's my tongue hanging out. Oh, love you. I love you all. Come on, man. And I'm the crazy one. You're the crazy one who sees this stuff. It's funny. It's actually funny. All right, Billy, we get it. All right, we get it, Billy. We got you. There you go. Oh. Is it still I love you now? No? Interesting. That's a little different than I love you. I wonder if the occultists do this to gaslight your ass. Sorry for the cussing. That's just weird. Let's just call that what it is. Here's Billie Eilish throwing up the devil horns with the mayor of Los Angeles. Because what mayor of Los Angeles has anything better to do than to hang out with some satanic pop star who's underage? Got the spider obsession. Tongue. It's the tongue thing. Miley does it all the time too, guys. Is that Billie Eilish? Because it looks like Cara... No, that's Billie Eilish. They all do this. People often comment like Miley has some kind of tongue problem. They all do. Justin Bieber does this all the time. Do you do this? Does anybody... Do you know people in like your day-to-day life that walk around like every 10, 15... Anytime you take a photo, like let's do a group photo, like they stick their tongue a foot out of their mouth? Dude, they have spirits operating through them, guys. That's why they're there. That's how the conspiracy is kept. Because a flesh and blood conspiracy of this kind couldn't happen. It's just what you wouldn't be able to keep it under wraps. In fact, the only thing that keeps the, meaning you don't find the people coming out as whistleblowers, people coming out of the programming to tell you. The only thing that keeps this hidden anymore, because there's been a lot of people exposing it on the internet these days, is the public's disbelief. It's so much, it's information overload. It would require such a reorganization of the brain that people will just reject it. Billy Piper, I don't know who this is. There's Millie Bobby Brown again. I probably just had that for some... I'm not sure why I saved that one, because there's not really... Could have been for documentary purposes or something. Billy Corgan, who everybody thinks is a hero. Everybody, just so you know, like, you don't have any Hollywood hero. You just don't. Jim Caviezel may, and look, I say that with a grain of salt, may very well be one of the very few. In terms of, I've just simply never found him doing, I've not found him throwing up any of it. Not only that, but can we all note, like, that doesn't look like makeup either. Like, Billy's hand, holy crap. I'm going to go a little deep with this one. It's like horribly burned and blistered. The finger that he's throwing up the mind control cue with. I'm either a willing initiate or something happened to me. But remember when he was talking on different programs about, like, seeing someone change form, showing their true... I wonder. Because the latest reports I've heard about Billy Corgan is that he was talking about, like, signing a contract with the devil. You know, about how, like, the industry still runs like that. And now he seems much different again. And his concerts are filled with weird imagery. But that looks like honestly, man, I don't know the backstory of this photo at all, but, like, his hand looks like it was, like, thrown into, like, some kind of chicken fryer. Or boiling water. I don't know. Billy Crystal, your mom and dad or your grandparents, they would have been like, had you tried to tell people this back in the 80s? They really thought you were insane. Now, at the same time, as much as people resist it, like, interestingly, more and more people are getting hip to it too. It's less and less crazy. Like, more and more people are like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you talk about it, like, Simon said he talks about it sometimes at work. And he works at a place where there's tons of people. And most people are like, yeah, oh yeah, that's real. So, I don't know. Maybe we're in a place and time where, like, most people know this stuff anymore. I don't know how this works. Billy Crystal. Oh, do you notice the company right behind there? Disney Pixar. Mm-hmm. Billy Crystal again. Billy Gibbons. ZZ Top. Oh, he's just holding his guitar pick, right? He is just holding his guitar pick, but it's a strategic moment for that photo. There you go. There's ZZ Top. Billy Gibbons. He's got the Necromancer skull rings as well. Billy Idol, of course. Billy Idol. I-D-O-L. Duh! These are all Satan's game is distract you from Jesus Christ. Pay attention to this idol. Don't follow Jesus. Or pay attention to these idols. Listen to Justin and Carl Lentz of Hillsong tell you, like, you can look like the world, you can be gay, you can practice your homosexuality, and it's not a conflict with Christianity at all. Who am I to say anything? Right? And, like, be Christian. Come on, man. You can be worldly and come on. Come on, folks. Billy Idol. Binks Walton, ID Magazine, once again, of course. Again, that's a challenge. Anybody, if you can ever find a photo from ID Magazine's covers where they're not throwing up the Illuminati photographs, Illuminati symbols, let me know. I've never found one ever. Birdman, who there's like this young skinny rapper, I can't remember his name, talking on video about how to get a contract, yeah, he let Birdman have sex with him. Bjork. Oh, come on, these are hardly government agents. Brother, you've been lied to your whole life. Ladies and gents. Your government doesn't just look like a suit and tie. The power structures, that's not how it works. For Satan to run everything, he needs the drug dealer. He needs the head of the CIA. He needs the president. He needs the Jewish rabbi. He needs the Muslim sheikh. He needs the Christian pastor. You know, he needs the race car driver. You know, he needs the NASCAR. He needs people, everybody within their particular sphere of influence. He needs to have been able to have turned out in order to turn you out. This is Operation Turn You Out. That's what's been up. So, Bjork again. Yawn, boring. There she is. Oh, it's just a cute little tongue thing. They just do it. No, it ain't. As usual. But at the same time, it's like, I honestly, I go back and forth between, like, you horrible, wicked Satanist to, like, am I looking at, like, the shell of a person that was traumatized horrifically? I go back and forth between both states in terms of how I look at all this. Sometimes after you get inundated with it for so long, and then I have to temper it with, this is generational. When you look at the Asia Argento and Dario, her father, and you look at her son now too, you start to look at it and you're like, and you put Russ, and he's talking about how, like, if you've gone through this kind of torture, like, whether you ever want to or not, like, you will be a programmer. You are programmed to program. This is why it's like, God, please, Jesus, come back soon. Please come back soon. Please put an end to this. Because it doesn't get any darker than this. There's another one trying to be artsy. That ain't artsy. Just ain't artsy. Blanca Suarez. We're still in the B's, ladies and gentlemen. What's this one? Blink 182. This guy over here, by the way, I think he's their lead singer. I can't remember his name. He's obsessed with gray aliens. Look that up. Of course he is. Of course he is. Why are they? Who are all these people? Like, this dude would have to arrive in, like, 1950s America. The guy on the right. in like a time capsule, time machine, because he looks so foreign and alien to what. Now that's just like everybody at any, everybody of his age and younger. Who, me? Yeah. Oh, I got like 1,000 occult tattoos. Oh yeah, I got a Baphomet on my back. Why? Why? Well, everybody in my culture does this, and it's just, I never really asked why. We're all just mindlessly walking like zombies following the devil. Bob, hi Bob. Hi Bob. Puts it on I mean, they're so bold, aren't they, guys? They're like, the stupid people aren't going to pick up on this. Or the ones that do, like, ha ha. Like on the cover of a book about him. His biography, Bob Dylan, A Year and a Day. By Daniel Kramer. I'm sure if we looked into that author, like he's somewhere, somehow, he threw up the symbols as well. I'll bet you anything. Why else would he pick that photo? Dude, when we were talking earlier about the SRA debunking books that we started this whole journey off with, if you've been with me that whole time, are you starting to realize that actually the vastness of this conspiracy is literally that big? To the point where it's not just your celebrities. Let's put it that way. It's not just the super famous are part of this cult. No. Like I said before, Satan is going to need... He's going to need the president and the gas station attendant. I forgot to mention that. He needs the Joe Blow, too. And whatever it takes, he's trying to rob every single individual of their salvation. So he needs agents everywhere. And to get agents, it's got to have his wickedness in the heavens operating through you. So that's Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, who were previously known as the Warlocks. I think before that they were called the Zodiacs. Bob Weir, in case you didn't know, gets a yearly invite to Bohemian Grove. That's not even conjecture. You can find him talking about it in interviews. Of course, and here he is hanging out in front of the pyramids because they're all obsessed with the pyramids. Because they're Uncle Sam, that's who they are. Been hanging out in the rock and roll band. They told you this. As you're dropping acid thinking you're so against the stream. Sucker. We all were. I was a sucker too. I did all that stuff. Suckers. So you got Bob Weir, you got Jerry Garcia. Everybody thought he was working for the CIA. FBI was watching him. FBI believed he was working for them. See, the weird thing is, like, there are some different... Obviously, they're infiltrated as well, but, like, see, we go back to that Order Out of Chaos thing again. There are definitely people in all this that believe they're in a fight. So there are people in the FBI, there are people in the CIA that actually think they're, like, in a war against the forces that actually, like, sit right next to them in the cubicle. But that's why you get, like, a Ted Gunderson sometimes. And they allow for it. Certain things. But they've learned. You can tell that. They've learned, like, well, you can just let people say everything. Put it all out there, and, like, still people are asleep. They still just want to watch cute dog and cat videos. So, they learned a long time ago, like, maybe whacking every single person, like, that actually makes us look a little hot. This whole Isaac Cap, as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not an Isaac Cappy guy, right? I didn't get in. I'm not a QAnon guy. I just don't go. I don't get into all that. I want to stay out of that. Bob Weir was an old man. Bob Weir clearly experiences his buzzy LSD dissociation moment there. Bobby Brackens, I don't know who that is, but apparently there's some kind of up-and-coming star. Of course, yawn, you gotta do this. Gotta do it. Bobby Wine, don't know who that is, but clearly he's down for the cause. Bollywood star Ash K. Kumar. I guess he's like huge over in India. Yeah, there you go. Just likes to strategically put what looks to be a battery charger, I'm not sure what that is, over his eyeball. Bonnie Wright and Daniel Radcliffe. Bonnie Radcliffe's actually been institutionalized several times. We know that's been in a place that programming occurs. I guess that's her covering it up. Yeah, that's her hand. Yeah, you never know. Like a lot of these photos, it's like the other person covering up the other person's eyeball for them. It's confusing, folks. It's a hard world to keep up with. Bono, who again, like Bieber and the rest of them, he's Christian. Come on. Come on, folks. Good Fight Ministries, in their documentaries, they show how he wanted his Zoo TV to have everyone watch the films of Kenneth Anger. Kenneth Anger, who produced Lucifer Rising, among others, which is, or what's the other one? Homage to My Demon Brother, I believe. It's basically about Aleister Crowley. And Lucifer Rising starred Bobby Beausoleil as Lucifer, because he was replacing the original person that Kenneth Anger tried to cast, who was like a 4-year-old boy who fell from a building to his death. And so, of course, naturally, you have to recast him. Strange, I believe, remember when we were talking earlier about in Laurel Canyon? About how the hippie movement started with this guy named Vito? Vito had a kid who lived to be 2 years old and fell off of a building because he was given LSD. This is all... And Kenneth Anger had at one point wanted to try to film the boy. We don't know for what. The world is alive, folks. There's Bono's altar. Here's Bono over here, like, I'm a Christian man. Mephisto. Here I'm Mephisto. The devil. Here I am again. I just love you. Let me cover up my eyeball, because it's not normal. Never done it once. Never done it once in a single... Never occurred to me. Ever. And you would think I would have picked up on it, having subliminally been seeing this all throughout my culture all my life, that I would have been like, for some reason, I want to put my pencil over my eyeball during this photo shoot. Never happened, though. There you go. He thought he'd just... It's not even natural. You're like literally obstructing your face, which is supposed to be the key focus. Anyway, I guess he got knighted. Surprise, surprise. So did Jimmy Savile. Got knighted. Don't forget that. There's Bono. Bono again. By the way, he likes Eugene Peterson's The Message Bible. He thinks you guys should read it. Oh, wow. Lord rebuke you, devil. Bono again. Gee, I wonder if he's a sellout. And they say they're wide awake. If people are slagging you or off or putting you down because you're a dreamer, I would say you're wide awake, Bono. They, in some respects, they are. That's the interesting thing. They are. This is why they call themselves illuminated, guys. They don't know how they don't get us in the equation. We don't compute in their algorithm. Because how it's supposed to work is like only other people who are initiated see them. They're like invisible. We're supposed to be like the Muggles, right? We're invisible. Their world's invisible to us. They go to Hogwarts and do their thing. They don't get us. They don't realize that the Most High shows us hidden things. That he has us punch through the temple walls to see what they're doing. Some of us. There he is. You know, he's with the UN. That's the secretary of the UN. I don't even know. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. I'm not a good names guy, actually. I'm an unlikely researcher. Most of the people who expose this stuff, like when you look into Dave McCowan, too, when you see him in his interviews, like, doesn't seem like the kind of dude, kind of very unassuming. Doesn't come at you with, like, the academic voice. The news anchor, I am official. You can trust me. You know, just people that say it how it is. Boy George. Come on, man. It's been your whole system. Brad Paisley. Why do I have Brad Paisley? Because, well, he comes up later. He's a Shriner. He's a Mason. Memphis, Tennessee. They've constructed a giant pyramid down there. Big black pyramid, just like they got out in Las Vegas with that Luxor Hotel. They brand everything outwardly so that, like, again, it's all hidden in plain view, guys. So you go walk by it every day, you're just like, that's just a hotel. Meanwhile, you know they got rituals going on in there. You know they do. It's a place of human sacrifice. That's what they've always been. Whenever, like, the true history of the pyramids in different cultures comes about, especially when you look at, like, the Mayans, they were conducting massive human sacrifice in those pyramids. And we're always about, like, what the mystery of the pyramid. There's no mystery. The mystery, we don't know really what they were used for and all. Yeah. Yeah, we do. They're a place of satanic sacrifice. Human sacrifice. Oh, Bradley. Oh, Legends of the Fall. Hey, girls, are you swooning? Are you swooning for your Bradley? Dude, he's even doing the sign of Osiris, but you can't see it well. But he's doing the sign of Osiris right there, too. Which Matt Damon and others. Sign of Osiris is like higher level. You gotta understand, this is like the Bloods and the Crips. They're all throwing up gang signs at one another. Most of you don't know what the hell they're throwing up. Just goes right past you. Now, you know, I haven't been able to research this quote, so take it with a grain of salt, but it was in a ensemble or a collage of other photos from the same, the Righteous Watchman Ministry. And Frankly, based on what we just saw prior to this, it probably is real. It's probably a true quote. He probably was in some interview, 1997 Reader's Digest that's not on the internet still. I can see him saying that, like I could try on something different for myself. That was Satanism. Like it's working out really well. I made a pact, that's why. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, right? But I've seen him do it before. Like, I've seen like celebrities say this stuff. You know, where you think like you do realize like there's cameras rolling. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Like, apparently, a huge portion of the population is already aligned with the devil, and what you're saying is preaching to the choir, and rubbing it in the faces of those of us who see. I get it now. I see. And you see all these sports guys, they're throwing it up. This is the longest Illuminati exposure video you will ever see that I've ever done. We're doing it. This is my church this morning. This is my church this morning. Again, that's the branding that Paul Bonacci said that the kids that would be taken to this nondescript location, the ranch house out in Colorado that was owned by a missing prison guard. They can't... America's Most Wanted tried to figure out, because Paul Bonacci took them there. Paul Bonacci from the Franklin cover-up, when they were doing a documentary about Johnny Gosch. Paul got interviewed. They thought his story was questionable. He told them about all these brands that the kids had. Then America's Most Wanted started getting contacted by all these kids that were adults now that had these brands that Paul Bonacci had been talking about. And then Paul took them to the Colorado house that he said was used, and sure enough, like, had all the hideout spaces and like the initials of kids like etched into the walls in the hideout areas. And Paul says, yeah, I saw Johnny. So apparently that's one of the symbols they do use. Brandon Boyd. I don't know who that is. Brandon Boyd again. Looks like the Thelemite that I worked with. But I have to keep in mind, you know, this whole thing, God's taken me on a journey here. Because as I look back at what I thought was like wherever I worked at must have been run by a satanic cult, frankly. That was what I initially thought. Just because of this crazy demonic activity that I didn't know was demonic initially. And the fact that like almost all of them were like these occultist, new age people, literal witches even. And now I look back here and I do realize, like, if this is true for these people that are shoved down our throats with the talent, what else are they tapping into? They need prostitutes. They need drug runners for the New World Order. They need honeypots to blackmail, to falsely accuse. And so, long story short, is I sometimes I'm reminded even again with them. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them. This is still this Brandon Boyd guy. That must be some major trigger for them. When they like see that, like everything drops. And they're just reminded, like, I am Satan's soldier. I am a Satan robot. Let me put up my hand over my eye. Because again, can I just say, he looks dissociated. This is a case where it's the man. He looks dissociated. Like in a trance, in an altered state. Here's Brendan Urie. There he is again. Brett Ratner. We're still in the B's. Let that sink in for a moment, folks. And this is just my little archive. It's a pretty big archive. This is just my little archive. Breezy. I would literally want to leave immediately at that party. This was like... It's like a room full of people that are like going to have sex in the side room. Somebody over here is getting ready to like assault somebody. I'm extrapolating here. I'm just sort of what if in here, riffing on it. You know? This guy, they're smoking blunts. Somebody in the bathroom right now is rolling cocaine joints with Mike Tyson. It's just such an empty life. I experienced miniature versions of these parties. Especially in high school in my early 20s. Everybody's been to parties like this. They're stupid. They're literally stupid. Nobody ever sits down. It's not like anybody's hanging out there having a meaningful conversation about anything. They're wasting their lives. And that is the devil's trademark. Distraction. John Crowder, the blasphemous guy who I have covered in my documentary about the mocking spirit invading the church, who's one of his students is that Brandon Barthrop guy, another mocker. But here he is with Brian Head Welch, the born-again member of Korn. Are he still falling for that, folks? I mean, he's Christian. He's got Jesus tattooed on his knuckles. Not to mention that, like you're not supposed to mark your flesh like that in Scripture. But people who have the tattoos, who say who are Christian, who continue getting tattoos and saying they're Christians, just say like, well, that didn't mean nothing. You Pharisee. No, I'm not a Pharisee. Like, we all fall short, but like, that's kind of an example of like a really easy thing to manage not to do. Like, oops, I'm not gonna have like a blade go into my arm and cut little flecks of ink into my arm to draw pictures. So I can avoid that one. And not just make excuses. Because, tattooing has always been associated with what the pagans did. And we still see it today, too. 99% of the time when you see somebody heavily tatted up, you just go over to them sometime. Start, looking at their tattoos. If you know anything about symbols, too, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be into the occult. Just straight up. I mean, it's just, you look like, and girls swoon over this. He's like their bad boy Brad Pitt, right? They just love this stuff. Their music is garbage. I'm just straight up. Whenever I've heard this, there you go, got a little eyeball. See, you investigate a little further. I haven't really looked at it. This is why it's interesting to sit here and look at the archive. You pick up on extra things. But it's honestly, these people look like, would you want to come across that in some kind of alley at night? I'm not saying he's like scary. He's not like intimidating scary. But he just looks like, you know, who would want to look like that? I don't know. There you go again. This is like the band after. This is like during his Born Again. I guess he's still saying he's born again. This is the band that he's a part of. You know who's falling for it? It's generally young kids who want to continue listening to these bands. That's who's falling for it. They want to continue listening to it. They want to pretend like there's no discrepancy between the two, and so they get to point to, well, what about Brian? Mom, I'm going to go to a Korn concert. Well, Brian's Christian. Okay, dear. We started streaming 4 hours ago, representing today. We're coming at you, Satan. Brie Larson. We're going to do a marathon. A marathon. Let's do it. Brie Larson. I don't know who this is. Some kind of model, actress. I don't know. I don't know who half these people are. I just know they're famous. Britney Spears. Everybody knows she's... It's Leonard Cohen. Everybody knows. Leonard Cohen, by the way, there's a book by his former neighbor claiming that he was MK Ultra. You can't even make this stuff up, man. It's just so... You can make this stuff up. It's just ridiculous. How is this reality? That's what how is this the world? Jesus, come back soon. Please. Please, God. It's getting bizarre. It's getting so bizarre that some of us down here are actually questioning. We have those moments. Have you had that moment, Christian, where you have asked yourself, did I die and am I already in hell? Is this some kind of slow progression into hell? Is that what happened? You know? Because like you're just like looking around, it's like a circus clown show of like Satanists. Everybody, you're just like, what is going on? And you sometimes you pinch yourself and you say to yourself, how did I? You know, let's keep it real, folks. We're going to come right back to it, but let's keep it real here. I want to give you my face for a second. You and I was born in 1978. I don't know what year you were born in, but all that came before that, like, I take with a giant grain of salt. Okay? I believe Scripture. I believe the Bible. Don't get me wrong at all. But, like, I don't really know how all this works. Okay? Not in any kind of ultimate sense. It's like, what are the odds of like living in the time prophesied in Scripture and like watching it unfold in real time? So you have these moments when you go into your denial state, which happens sometimes, where you say, is this like, am I in a simulation? Like you literally start to ask that. Like, is this some kind of weird, like maybe there's like thousands of people like me in their own similar program, like unique program. Like, I don't know, man. Like, obviously these are just the random thoughts and this is humor. These are things that sometimes I do think about at times, but then I pull back from that again and I say, nope, Scripture's true. I know God to be faithful and true, and I've always been able to verify everything in His Scripture to be true. It's just kind of amazing that we live in a time where all this stuff is actually happening. So, of course, you got Britney Spears, 666. Page 666, that's a website. I guess it covers Hollywood. Kind of It's not ironic. It's not ironic. Fitting. Now, I don't know if this is the original. I don't know if that's the original shirt she was wearing or not. Probably. I mean, you see it all the time. Probably. But regardless, she's throwing up her own, like, weird Britney version of the devil horns for you. Excuse me, too. I'm going to have a little... This is a very casual video today, so I'm going to have a little snack. Try to chew with my... There she is again. Throwing up the devil horns. There she is again. This poor girl, though. Like, you look at everything that Britney's gone through. And again, I don't get. There's some of these channels. They're just horrible, blood-sucking Satanists. And like, you have those moments because it's just so jaw-dropping. But I can't help but look at this woman who we've literally watched grow up and realize they did that to her. She didn't choose this. They did that. There you go. Throwing out the devil horns. Selling lust again, as well. Is this a real photo? Like People Magazine? Probably. It has to be. Exclusive People Magazine edition. Doesn't get any more American Pie than that. We're moving on because that's causing people to lust. But there she is in her bathtub full of diamonds because... Isn't it so worth it to forfeit your eternal soul for a bathtub of diamonds? Ooh. Really? Think about this, guys. Who cares? They're shiny... Think about this. They're shiny objects. They mean nothing. Like, once you have all that, who gives a crap? Nobody cares. Well, stupid people care. Let's keep it real. Superficial, shallow people care. But like, if say I had that many diamonds, I would not know what to do with them. Say I had like a vault just filled with diamonds, and I just like to go and look at them. And they're worth tens of millions of maybe maybe I got $1 billion worth of diamonds, just top end, you know. And when I die, can't take any of it with me. Means nothing. All they really were shiny objects that everybody else said were valuable. And people die for them. She's got a tattoo of a pyramid on her hand, by the way. And of course she's doing a one-eyed symbol. Brit Nicole. I have no idea who she is, but there she is. Once again. The heart thing, too. I'm going to have to look deeper into that. I haven't covered that a lot, but I know when they throw the heart gesture up that it is most definitely one of their symbols. It's just it's kind of like the I love you devil horns. It's a hard one. I don't use it ever because it's just hard to point to people and say, well, they're throwing up a hand sign of they love you, of love, and to get people to realize that is actually one of the symbols that they throw up. But if anybody actually in the chat room too, if you guys know any good information about what that is, because that's one area where I'm a little bit out of my depth in, or I haven't researched it much. Let's put it that way. But you might want to go ahead and let me know if you found anything in your own research to explain why they do that. Let me know. Or put it in the comment in this video once it's published. We're doing a marathon video today. We're doing it. It's been a long time since I did one. Brittany Murphy. There's Brittany Murphy again. There she is. What on earth is happening here? What is going on? Just looks dead in the eyes. And this isn't about sexism. It's not about gender. It's just like you literally, like, with that amount of makeup on it, you look like a whore. I'm not trying to be. I would have so hated me when I was my liberal progressive self. My Buddhist enlightened. How dare you? How dare you call it? Look, she's dolled up like a whore. That's what you would expect to see at a whorehouse. But again, what happened to this person? Bruce Lee. I mean, if anybody else has any photos of Bruce Lee, let me know. I'm sure I could find them, but because that could be dismissed, right? But you sure should be able to find it on Bruce Lee. If it applies, if it's like the rule of thumb, like, yep, you'll find Bruce doing it too. Die Hard. People think this was predictive programming. With the towers. Even though it's not the Twin Towers, but it certainly, I can see where they're going with that. That Illuminati card game, that it has that in it. Not only does it have that in it, but if you look to the building to the side of it, next to the towers that are getting hit with, I think it's like the nuke card or something like that, or terrorist nuke, I think is what they call it, or what it was called. If you look to the building next to it in that card game, it's got the pyramid with the eyeball in the middle of it. Letting you know. Steve Jackson's Games was who created that Illuminati card game. Was raided by the Secret Service. And like several of their computers and databases had been confiscated after they published it. Now, I don't trust any of them, because as far as I can tell, Steve Jackson's Game came out of folks associated with like the Church of the Subgenius and Robert Anton Wilson, and he's a crackpot. He's a Crowleyite, and it's just it goes back to that Order Out of Chaos thing again. They like to both like show you things and then like be behind it as well, because it's like it's the ultimate psychopathic duper's delight, I think. Bruce Willis. Just look. Once you see it, once you recognize it, they all look like clowns. It's like a clown show. Like you look and you're like, you look pathetic. It's pathetic. Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars again. Bryden Jenkins throwing up a little 666. Oh no, she's just saying A-OK over her eyeball. Because who doesn't do that? Well, nowadays, a lot more people are doing it because all your sports stars are doing it as well. And, oh, it's just like this weird, subtle... And it's still a spiritual thing. When the blinded zombie masses follow the celebrity, the idol, the icon that does it, there's still something spiritual going on there. Make no mistake about that. That person who is imitating that person is doing so because they are so impressionable, number one. Meaning that they follow men, right? Someone who's had their eyes opened, and I mean that, because this eyes opening business is what we call the gift of grace from God, and it's a gift, and it's something that some of us have recognized. Things were shown to us that we never... I didn't come up with that on my own. You know, it's basically just placed into your lap. But so it's a subtle sort of sign that you shouldn't just ignore and just say, oh, that's just some young kid throwing up the devil horns and sticking their tongue out because their celebrity does it too. Well, look at the lifestyle of that young kid sticking out their tongue and throwing up the devil horns too. I'll bet you're going to find friends with benefits, polyamorism, you know, probably a very quite lacking in their interest in Christ. You know, definitely not holding a biblical view of the world. I've heard people come into my comments sometimes and they say, I used to throw these signs up all the time when I was lost in the world. And I didn't even realize it. And they were even looking back upon what they were doing and realizing it was spiritual. It was like a temperature read. Look at this. This is someone... I'm not sure where they're from. Jimin Monarch. Yeah, the Monarch. He's doing the one eye, but he's also got like the butterfly stuff. Why is it always the same stuff? Like, it's always the same, like, same themes. Jungkook. Oh, he's part of a band called BTS. So that's one of the band members. So lest you wondered, like, this is another one of his bandmates. His name's Jungkook. And he does the one eye. See if there's any more BTS. Okay, this is old school entertainers and that. Burl Ives. He was a Freemason. Buzz Aldrin. Dude, look at his have we ever stopped to, like, look at things, right? Look at his bracelet here. Look at that mala that he's got. Was he Buddhist? Buzz Aldrin's Buddhist? What is all this going on here? Seriously. Does anybody wonder why Mr. Astronaut has like 4 bracelets on? One, you know, I mean, you could potentially connect that to the Kabbalah, like the folks that are wearing those red strings. But he's got like a skull mala on. And let's just not forget to mention that he's covering up his eyeball with a 666. There's our world in a snapshot right there. Oh boy.